Hey, what's up, everybody? It's the Go Check Chicks.
I'm Dominique.
And I'm Anna. So we're here. It's our 6th episode. Can you believe that?
No.
It's insane.
So insane.
Oh, man. So this weekend, I went out for brunch on Sunday. So I was actually supposed to go for my friend's birthday, but she ended up canceling. So I was in brunch mode. And I was like, I'm still going to go.
Oh, so you went solo?
Well, I went with a friend first.
Uh-huh.
And then they're like, well, I have to go to work. And so I was like, well, I'm going to keep going. So I'm like, oh, I remembered Ella's in Huntington. And I loved the place. So I was like, oh, you know what? I'm so down for an Aperol Spritz.
Yeah.
So I did. I went, I had. And they have a really good like brunch special. You know how like they have.
Yeah, what'd you get? I
got the Aperol Spritz. And I was like, oh, I know that, brunch ends a little bit soon. Can we just throw another one in there? She goes, no, don't worry about it. You're good. So I came back in and then I was like, oh, I'll have another. So she's like, okay. And then she's like, are you good? Do you want another one? I was like, you know what? I'm going to have Screw it. But the weather was so freaking nice.
It was so nice out yesterday. I mean, Sunday. Whatever. Yeah.
And I was like, I'm not going to let this day go to waste.
The sun on my face for the first time in how long?
I know. Yeah. So I was like, I'm not going to let this day go to waste. Yeah. I'm not staying home. It's just not going to happen. Mind you, I was wearing like knee-high socks. So like the sun.
Were you sweating?
You could probably see my tan. I'm like half brown and like light beige.
I'm dead. It would take me like 4 days in the sun to get even the slightest bit like that.
No, so I sat there and I was getting like nice little sun rays, which was good. I really liked it. I enjoyed it. You went out to brunch too.
I did for my friend Steph's birthday. Yeah, so we went out. Her birthday is coming up, but we went out and we went to this place, Coco Bistro in Smithtown.
Okay.
I will start by saying the food was so good. Mm-hmm. Service. Mm-hmm. Sleeping on that. Sleeping on the service. I feel like everywhere I go, I can't get a good brunch spot that has good service. What is the?
Are you the problem?
It's definitely not me. You were there.
I know that.
And I am like the most gracious like customer. I will give you so much. I'll give you a million chances, but there was no one in the goddamn place. There was no one in the place. And he was taking 40 years to come over to us.
Why? But why? You know what it is? Because the food is so good. They think they don't have to do anything extra.
Well, that's fine. I won't be back for a while. Well, just for that reason. Who do you think you are?
Meanwhile, I'm at Ella's. And they're like so kind, so nice.
Yeah, they're great there.
They're great. And then I didn't like stop the party there because I was like, oh, I remember when we went to Spotlight afterwards.
Yo, want some other shit.
I was like, yeah, party time. So I went there and I had another Aperol Spritz. And of course they crushed it. It was delish.
Yeah.
And then I ended the night with, my espresso martini.
Yeah.
You know how I like to nightcap it.
I know, but I don't understand that. I'm like this after. I'm like wide awake after an espresso martini, so I don't understand using that as a nightcap.
Well, because instead of feeling, because it makes me tired because I was in the sun. So I was like, oh, I need something to, mind you, it was only, 4 or 5 o'clock?
Wait, and you're like, no, but you're like.
Just like, what am I going to go to bed?
Well, that's pretty much what I did that day that we went to brunch. I was shot. That was the day.
That was crazy. You're
my God.
I don't remember telling my dad to pick me up.
Literally. And it was one of those crazy things where, I mean, she was with me. It's not even like we were getting out of control. It was one of those things where I was drinking water. I was doing everything
You're
right.
A fish.
Oh, God, it just hit me. And I called my dad and he's like, yeah, I'll come pick you up. And then I guess my mind didn't want to wait.
No, you didn't.
So we ordered an Uber.
I will never forget that.
I felt so bad.
Do you remember when you texted me like, when did I call my dad? I was like, when we were at Ella's. And you're like, really?
I literally don't remember the last time other than that I even couldn't remember like that. Like that was crazy.
Brunch has you like this.
I know, but we weren't even drinking. I think there's a lot of things. There
was so many moving parts.
Yeah.
Because we started with how many? First of all, I think it was just too much of the mixing. Because you had you had what's the red thing drink?
Bloody Mary.
The Bloody Mary. Then you went to what?
Mimosa.
A mimosa. And you
then
had
Aperol
a wine.
Spritz.
Oh, was it the Aperol Spritz? Yeah. And then you went No, yeah, and then you stayed there, and then we went.
And so that's when I was.
Yeah.
I was ready for bed.
Your body was like, I literally did. Chill out.
No joke. I literally did go home and go right to bed.
You really did.
Brunch did me dirty that day.
I love me a brunch though, and you know what? My friend calls me the mayor of Huntington because they're coming out here. One lives in Florida, and she'll be out here, and my other friend, she's always traveling. So when I tell you we had to like plan a day to be together, and so they messaged me and they're like, "Okay, mayor of Huntington, where are we going?"
And I was like, funny. My friends call me the mayor of Comac.
I can't get away from it, and I will say the service where we were, and it's always so good.
Yeah.
So you kind of can't, like, what are you going to not go?
Right. Of course not.
Some people are like, yeah, you could probably stay home. Yeah. I'm like, and do what?
Why would I do that? It's beautiful outside.
Listen, every time I drive through Huntington,
I went for a little stroll.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. You see,
it wasn't fun. It was perfect because I was with all my friends after the brunch. My friend Matt that played hockey.
Okay, yeah.
For Nassau County on Saturday.
That's right. You went to the hockey game on Saturday.
Oh, that's right. That. So I took it out a little.
You did.
She's like, we should talk about something fun you did. I'm like, I don't remember. I didn't do much.
And you actually went out to a game and enjoyed yourself.
Oh, yeah. It was great. Yeah.
It looked fun.
It was, and I was completely solo. I was like, I'm doing the solo thing.
You know what's so funny is that I was supposed to go with you to that. And mind you, I'm at my friend's house. We're spending the whole day at her house.
Yeah.
Just relaxing.
Yep.
And I see your pictures like, oh, wait a minute. What am I supposed to do?
Because I literally just went at the last minute. I'm like, because I felt horrible. I actually left work early on Friday because I didn't, I literally got there, immediately felt like crap and left. God. And I just showered and slept the whole day Friday.
Okay, yeah.
And then I was like, Friday night, I'm like, how am I going to go to this game? I'm like, there's no way I'm going to be able to sit at it. And sure enough, I felt great I guess I needed extra rest and I slept it off.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I was happy. It was a great game. It supported Nassau County Police.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Because he's a police officer for Nassau County. So he played in the game. He played awesome. Honestly, it was like watching a professional game.
I mean, I saw the players. They did not look like they were messing around.
Right? I know. Yeah, they weren't playing around.
When you said you were doing a stroll, like you were walking, well, sometimes I like to drive around Huntington, and I did imagine.
I drove too. I did a
houses that I don't get to have.
Oh, yeah.
And I mean, I was telling you before we started the show, is like, I try to buy a house, and that was like a mess because when you're getting pre-approved, they will tell you, oh, this is how much you're approved for.
Yeah.
And that's air quotes.
Yes.
Because a company may say that, and then another closer mortgage lending will be like, that's not even close. Yeah. So it's then where'd they get this number from? Right. That's the number I want.
Yes.
And so every time I drive through Huntington, I always fantasize of all these houses that I wish I could have, because I've always been like that. I've always wanted my own house and how I want to, put things together. I want a big kitchen.
Yeah.
I really do. And I really want to literally learn how to cook more different types of foods. Not just because I'm Dominican, but of course my Dominican culture, but
right.
all
but
types of culture.
All that from learning it growing up. So
listen, I'm going to be honest with you. My mother, she throws down. I just be eating it. Yeah. So. But because I ate like that my whole life, I was like, I have to think of healthier options. When I started working out when I was much younger, but when I was working out, I would have to choose healthier options. Yeah. And not to say that Dominican isn't a healthy option, but you can't stop eating it.
Yes.
Because it's so good.
Yeah.
It's like Italian food. And it's...
See, I could literally eat
pasta,
Italian food. Well, yes, specifically
you
pasta.
Love pasta.
I could eat Italian food when I say 7 days a week.
Oh, yeah.
365. Uh-huh. I'm not even joking.
I believe it. I 100% believe it.
Can't stop, won't freaking stop. It's so bad.
Are we bringing P. Diddy back? I hope not. He needs to stay his ass out of today's show. Squad. We actually have a guest today, and he will be talking to us about, his time in the realty world and his customer service skills, because I was reading some things about him, and he is a master negotiator, which I want to know more of what that means.
Yeah, I saw that
Teach
note,
me
and
stuff.
I was like, what does that mean? Because I can't negotiate to save my life, literally.
But I think, so he's a master negotiator, but he also likes to meditate, which I think goes hand in hand, because in order for you to be a negotiator,
You have to be completely in control.
right, and he is. So I want to learn more about that. So I think what we're going to do now is we're going to probably bring him in. So we're going to take a quick break.
Awesome.
And then we're going to bring on Chris. All right?
Okay. Sounds good.
Detonando en todas las zonas. Latino Mixx. Latino Mixx. La verdadera patrona. Dale play a tu bocina.
Hey, what's up, you guys? I'm so excited. We have Chris here on our show today.
Hello, everyone.
Say hello to Chris. And we actually were just talking about you before you came onto the show. I told them a little bit of a few fun facts about you that I read. Yes, I did a little bit of research.
I'm going to jump right in. No, the master negotiator thing. I need to hear more about that.
Yeah.
Because I can't negotiate to save my life. So.
For sure. So you want me to get into that?
Yeah, please.
Well, Harvard has these classes, so
Okay.
you can take, it's not like you're going to Harvard and getting a degree there.
It's a certificate from there.
Exactly.
Got
They
it.
have ones on negotiating. They have ones on stillness, calmness, being able to do like certain kind of skill sets that you may need if you're going to be in the law field or any kind of negotiating field. So that's primarily kind of business degrees they give.
Okay.
So they have like these little auxiliary courses. And I guess if you go to Harvard, that's like
Probably
piece of cake.
free or something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, it's not free. If you want to like do it, if like us regular people, like we go to get that stuff, it's expensive.
That's what I mean.
But it's so worth it though.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I was telling her about that. So what have you used in like the daily? I know that you're a realtor. I know we're going to get into that.
Sure.
Don't worry, because we want to talk about that, because I was telling her about how I drive through Huntington sometimes and I'm like, I wish I could have that house. And it's like, it's not going to happen. But
I don't even look at this point. I'm like this.
I love to I'm a
Bad news.
fantasizer. I love to fantasize. So, but what have you used in being a master of negotiator? Like, what's something that you done that you're like, oh, certificate was worth it?
Yeah, one of the biggest things, and I use it every day, probably going to use it while we're here.
Okay.
If we ever get into some kind of dilemma, it's when people are on your side and there's rapport built, there's no real reason to argue. If you can find common ground with someone, approach them as a friend, as we're on the same team, that goes such a long way, even in your relationships, in negotiating deals, and being on a podcast, any kind of thing where you want to find, you can find common ground with someone. That you want to do. If you come at someone from you're over here, I'm over there, it'll never really work. So being a little bit looser, more fun, people tend to be more agreeable that way.
So you're saying never be serious. We're doing good so far.
You are on the right track, yes.
Treat everything like a friend.
Yeah. Like a joke.
That's how-
No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Everything's a joke, so we
To
just
me,
can't
yeah,
take anything
specifically.
fucking serious. But so you like to meditate, and I actually saw that yesterday that you...
I need to learn.
Yeah.
I genuinely... Oh, yeah. I did see that you meditated during the eclipse, right?
Yes.
He's like, fuck that. I'm going to meditate
All my
tonight.
esoteric things get brought up. Yeah, no, I was meditating during that eclipse. I love to meditate. I think you have to. The stillness, it's just like you can find calmness in anything that gets stressful.
Yeah.
It's like being able to turn your mind off.
I
when
was
nothing's
just going to
going
say
on.
how. That's an art.
Oh, yeah.
It's an art
I
to
don't
turn
know
your
how
mind
to
off.
do that.
Do it for 10 seconds at a time, then add 10 seconds, then add 10 seconds. So it doesn't seem like a lot, but in a week you have a lot of time there that you kind of added, almost like a minute of actually
I'd be
meditating.
like, turn it off, 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 turn it off. For literally every 10 seconds.
Yeah. That's how it starts. Yep.
Turn the beat out. I really thought that's what you were going to go.
Turn it up, turn it up, turn it upside down.
Poor
Oh my
Chris, he's like,
God.
I'm in for a treat.
What is going on already?
So I also read that your dream is to build your own brand and work with Gen Z and millennials to achieve that dream. And so what is your end goal? Like, what's the actual dream? Because I know that you have a plethora, but what's like your main one?
Yeah, I love the real estate business. That's what I do full time. I would like to teach younger agents how to do it better.
Yeah.
A lot of people in the industry right now, it's a lot of older people in our career field. If I'm going up for a listing, it's a lot of 40-year-olds, 50-year-olds, 60-year-olds, people that have been doing it for 30 years.
Oh, wow.
And so coming in with, myself, I've been in 5 years as of yesterday. coming in.
Congrats.
Yeah,
Congrats.
That's a whole other story. I quit my other job on my birthday and then just went after it full time.
Wow.
Yeah. So, but that's another story. On top of that, it's a lot of young people kind of get overwhelmed. They don't have experience, and I may not even have as much experience as someone that's been doing it 30 years.
Yeah.
But if you have the skill set, the confidence, the mindset that you can get things done, and if you take the preliminary steps, maybe get further education, you could speed up the learning curve for yourself and have more confidence and win more as a young agent. So I want to teach them how to do that, kind of like I had mentors when I got into it.
Yeah. What would you say is like when it comes to, I mean, I know it is, but we were talking about this before we got on before you came here, but we were talking about like customer service. Like, I know that because we've been servers for 17, 20 years.
More than half our lives.
More than half our lives. But, as a realtor, I know that, your customer service has to be like A1. So, I mean, not everybody's going to be like you, Chris. Like, you're very inviting, you're a nice person, and you're very smart, but some people may come in and they're just straight. Yeah. I know that the master negotiator comes into that play, but where do you start with that customer service? Like, how do you achieve that with them? Like, because you have to break that barrier to actually give them the proper customer service.
Yeah, I think it's kind of finding a balance between being their friend, but you're also controlling their biggest asset and the value of it. So you've got to find a line where you can also be serious and they can trust you that way.
Yeah.
They won't work with their friends if they don't trust their friends. But they may work with their friend if they can get a little bit more rapport, and they could do just as good a job as you. So getting on the side of being their friend, but also remaining professional, diligent, doing the work you need to do, it's kind of like a balance.
Yeah.
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 So because one of the things that I was talking to her about is because, sometimes in the realty, world, there's not a lot of friends that you can actually make in terms of like realtors.
Yeah.
Like in server world, like we're going to party after, we're going to stay out and go to work the next day.
It's much more shark cutthroat, I feel like, in real estate than it is. And like everybody's main goal is the same, even if you're fighting over who gets the better section. Right. Everybody's end goal is to make money, and you're making your money based on how you're hustling, unless you're pooling tips. Like, it's very different for them.
Yeah.
So what's your take on that?
Yeah, I think you want to be competitive, but if you kind of let it get personal, take things personal, then you're not going to perform the way you need to. So you've kind of also got to separate yourself and not let your emotions get the best of you. So if you're going up against someone for a listing and it is intense, and maybe they're even saying things about you to the client, and they could be lying, like that happens too. But you've got to.
Does that happen to you?
Yeah, that happens.
Oh, to you?
Yeah, of course.
Of all people?
Because he's nice.
Exactly.
So people think they could take advantage of him, but no, they can't. I love that.
That's
finding
so
that
awful.
out, yes. Well, that's kind of how things are. It's unethical.
Yes.
But,
right.
if you're coming into a new market and someone's been there for 20 years, they've been there for 30 years.
They're like, what's ethics?
well, they don't want you there, So it's kind of like you got to break in and be diligent and kind of remain, I guess, present for the whole thing and just take it and not take it too personally.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Oh, okay. So when it comes to like the fellow realtor world, how do you, because listen, right, there are probably times where you're probably between 1 or 2 or 5 houses and you're like, wow, I'm closing almost, every so often and I can't take this on. Do you have like a specific person you can go to? Because I know that in that world, it's almost kind of like you don't have a person.
Yeah.
But
I mean, that's kind of like certain things and tasks that you don't need to be doing.
Yeah.
So you can maximize your time doing what you are good at. We call it leverage in our industry.
Okay.
And I mean, some things that I would need to be present for. If there's something like negotiating going on, that's more important than getting someone into a house. If we can have someone open up a door for them or show them the bathroom so they know what that looks like. Show this is a toilet. Like, I don't need to be there for that kind of thing if there's something important with a client on the line. So kind of distinguishing where to put yourself. And we do have team members, an organization underneath us that is happily helping us.
Okay.
And we help them out too. It's like, everyone gives and gets there.
Yeah. My sister, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. No, I was just going to say, so you've been in the industry now 5 years as of yesterday. That's crazy.
Yeah.
So as far as what is your biggest piece of advice that you want to give people either that have been in the industry a long time or that are just starting out? What piece of information do you think is necessary for them to know?
Vital information.
Yeah.
Something you wish you were told.
Yeah. True.
I was told this advice, but I did not listen to it for years. So maybe this can help people with their learning curve, but kind of putting the relationships over a transaction.
Okay.
So if you're just constantly trying to get a deal done, people can feel that.
Yes.
Versus if you're there to actually just advise them. Be there when they are ready. And if that means you have to talk to more people to make money in the meantime, then you've got to do that. But kind of distinguishing that, and I found that once I focused more on the relationship, they came in and they were ready to do deals.
Yep, because they trust you.
Yeah, way ahead of me, So it's kind of that piece of information that I didn't follow for like years. I was just didn't get it. No, why would you do that?
Yeah.
But it really does make sense and it's true.
I feel like that would be the only advice that I would, really hone in on, because at the end of the day, like, I remember like working at Verizon and man, they would just be like, oh, get this, get that, get this. I'm like, no.
Yeah.
Like, I want to know this person first.
Yep.
And I want to know what they want, because the need is more important than the want.
Yes.
So if you don't need it, then I'm not going to offer it.
Yes.
So like even like certain like, when you guys sell homes and things like that, like my sister, she's a realtor, so she does tell me a little bit of the behind the scenes. And so when I hear her over the phone, I'm like, you sold me a house and I'm not even looking for one, but it's her genuinity. She's just very like, listen, when you're ready, I'm here. Like, I'm not going anywhere. This is what I do for a living. So if this is what you want to do, then let's do that. She's like, this is a big purchase. Take your time. She's like, look, this is going to be when they're giving us, this is when you have. So don't tell me today if you're not ready. And honestly, you have to see. It's the very next day or the next couple hours. They're like, no,
But they just really needed to think about it and make it their decision and not just based off of pressure or whatever's going on,
Yeah.
Especially buying something that big. Like, so when it comes to, what about you in terms of like when you see someone doing like an impulse buy, is that something that you kind of like interfere in, or do you just kind of like?
People want to do their own thing. I mean, I'm kindly just there to make sure they get a good deal on it, stay legally protected.
Yeah.
And but when it comes to people's personalities, they can definitely buy things in different ways. So that's,
well, with the houses that I've seen you sell, I'm like, wow.
Houses or, things in
Properties.
the store.
Yeah.
People can get impulsive like that, and that's their own prerogative. I'll just make sure they do it properly.
And legally.
How transparent are you with that? Like, are you just like, listen, I know you want to do this, or you're like, okay, can we weigh out the pros and cons?
I tell people what I would do.
Yeah.
I see what you're doing the way I would do it if it was me.
Right.
And they kind of can feel that, all right, maybe I shouldn't do this. Or I should think a little bit more about this.
Okay, yeah.
Or they just keep doing whatever they're doing.
That too.
Usually those people are like that. And then afterwards they're like, what did I do?
I mean, look, buying, even like, first of all, when I bought my car, I thought that was like...
this whole entire conversation, that's all I've been thinking about, because my lease is up in like 2.6 months. I did the math. Tiguan, Volkswagen.
Okay. I have a Ford Escape.
You like it?
No. But it gets the job done.
That's what I'm looking for. I need an
love the Ford
SUV.
Escape, though. Which one, though? Because 2016 was really nice.
I don't know.
Is that the one you have?
This was a lease. It's all paid off, so I don't have a car bill. So that's what I like about it, is I can just chill with it.
Yes.
It's nice like that, but
See,
it's
I won't
not
have that
glamorous.
option. So I'm like, I either need to lease or I need to finance. And it's like, is it really worth financing if I'm going to buy a used car? Not really.
It's even worse than a house, right? It's like when you go buy cars.
Horrible.
And
like literally a traumatizing experience every time.
I know. I go there too. It's like when I'm there. The last time I was looking, because I was gonna trade this in for something, and just I could feel like kind of like the relationship transaction thing I was talking about.
Yeah.
And I'm like, guy, like the general public hates me just as much as they hate you. Can we just do something
Can we just
right
meet
by each other?
right in the middle
Have
here?
a nice transaction. Don't try to BS
Yes.
me. Didn't work.
Let me go. I'll be right back. And they go to the Wizard of Oz behind the freaking curtain in the back.
Like, never wants to come out and never wants to talk to you.
We gotta call Mr. Numbers in the back.
No.
I'm like, who are our finance guys?
They
I'm like,
sit on their phones and they sit back there. They're not doing shit.
no, they're
Don't
laughing
tell
at
me.
us.
Don't
They're
tell me.
laughing.
You
Don't
gotta
tell me.
see who the guy is. When they're like, I gotta speak to the manager. It's like you think it's like the big boss.
No, and it's this little guy. Come on.
Like a 22-year-old kid back there with a chain on. Like, no.
It's like, are you really deciding my fate right now? Are you joking? Is that so? When it comes to like negotiating a home, like, How is that? I know it's obviously so different from purchasing a vehicle, but like when you're negotiating back and forth, have you ever had like that moment where it's been like, it's getting really like violent right now, or vile, if you will?
Yeah, like if there's like a lot of money in between where the buyer is and where the seller is, it's kind of, then we go to the terms. Okay, well, what's more important to them? What makes up for $50,000, $20,000? Is it a steep timeline? Is it us not renegotiating after an inspection or an appraisal comes in? What would it take for you? Is there anything else we can do? Can we pay for some of your moving expenses for you?
Oh.
And so things like that kind of play into it.
Chris, I feel like you're one of those people that you start dropping like little gems.
Yeah. I have a line, and like if realtors watch this, they'll hear it. I say, we will tie this up with the Tiffany bow for you. I make it perfect. And it usually works, that line. So
I love
it's been known to do good.
Women like Tiffany bows. We like Tiffany's.
It's mainly the guys saying yes to it, too. The guys like it, too.
Oh, okay. Well, I love that.
My wife will love
it. Exactly.
So what kind of, advice could you give to up and coming, people? Because I'm going to be honest with you, coming into the realtor world, especially on Long Island, I think that it's like, man, I know that maybe everywhere else is like crazy. And like sometimes you'll see like a house that's on Long Island that you're like, that's like $800,000. Yeah. And then in Texas, it's like $249,000.
Literally.
Like, our hearts are like,
and it's
broken.
A mansion.
Yeah. And they're like mansions. So like, what kind of advice could you give to someone who's like, listen, I don't know if I could do this. Like, this looks like it's scary. I feel like, to me, like as a person who's always been in sales, and someone has always told me, they're like, you should do realty, be a realtor. You'd be great. You'd be awesome. And I'm like, do you understand? Like, I'm just not built to be mean to other people to get what I want. I can't do it. Like, I would probably be like, hey, Chris, I'm probably not going to be able to close on this house. Do you want it? I literally would be that person. So I would know how to handle that. So what would you say to, these up and coming people coming,
like
to the
to buy real estate or to actually be an agent?
Okay, both agent and buy.
Okay.
Do the agent first and then the buy, because we want to hear the buy.
Okay, I'll give you the buy, and it's not going to be what you're expecting.
Go for it.
But for the agents that are coming in, it's a mindset skill set. It's a language skill set. So the more you know how to talk and know that if you get told to F off, you get rejected, which will happen every day.
Yes.
Just expect that. Like that happens. I'm like, okay, yeah, it is Tuesday. I did get told to F myself 3 times. Makes sense.
It's only 11.
Yeah, and it was like 3 times, so I could expect a couple more. But that's how it is. So if you know that, then you're okay with it. If you get like personally hit like in the chest with that, and you're going to do that daily, it won't feel good. You won't be able to do the business very long. So that is part of it. So I would say strengthen your mindset, strengthen your language so you don't have to hear those words very often. But when you do, you're able to do it. On the buy side, I'm the only real estate agent that will tell you I don't own property. I own moon property. I bought like a cryptocurrency thing where it's like this plot of land on the moon, apparently.
Moon?
Yeah.
When's the housewarming?
I think Scott
How do we get there? Give me an address.
I saw Scott Disick advertising it, and I was like, oh, he has the best stuff ever. So I went and bought it. I have 200 acres in the Lunar Alps.
I'm screaming.
But for real property, I rent 2 places right now.
Okay.
I would not buy, and this is why. For me. When you're buying and you're taking out a mortgage, you're paying front-end loaded interest.
Yes.
Okay, so if you have a 30-year loan, that's about 90-10. So it's almost all interest that you're paying for the first 10 years of the loan.
Okay.
People say, well, you're paying rent. I'm paying myself every month.
Yeah.
Not really. Not for the first about 10 years. You better hope the property is appreciating.
Yeah.
So you have that. Then you have your taxes. Property taxes on top of that. Then you have your maintenance.
Yeah.
Something goes wrong, the roof's leaking or the toilet's flooding.
And it's always right after everything's fixed and you just got paid a little.
I always, maybe this is my downfall.
Expect something to break.
I get like so snotty about that opinion that I have too. Like I just smirk every time I see some old lady on the news like, I own this house. It's worth $1 million now, and I've had it for 40 years. And it's like you paid about $4 to $5 million for your $1 million house in maintenance, taxes.
Right.
When you refinanced, you added more interest. they really didn't come out too much on top. If you look at my rent bill, if I rented for 40 years, it would still be less than half of what you paid.
That's crazy.
And I wouldn't have to worry about the asset going down.
But people's big thing, old school, I hear it all the time.
Why don't you have property?
You don't have, but then you have nothing to your name. You got nothing to your name then. What do you have to put down? What do you got to put down for a new car, for this? And it's like, who gives a shit?
And I'm so happy you said this.
Yeah. Right?
Do you
like, does
understand
it
that
really
you
make a
just-
difference?
You killed a stigma today. I hope you know that.
Like even financing a car as opposed to leasing a car. Now when you put it in that term, it kind of makes no sense.
Right.
Interest is crazy. And
Yeah.
I mean, I started learning more about money when I have like really rich friends now. And like rich friends that like, I'm like, okay, let me learn from you.
Yeah.
They do it totally different.
Yeah.
They don't own things. They don't have a 401k. They're not tied to one location or one thing. Everything's almost rented or it's borrowed or it's a lien against their business. So they're not actually, risking anything.
That's
and
why
if you ask how much they make per year, well, it's kind of unclear because of tax deductions and write-offs and the way they schedule their funding. So it's total opposite of someone that's saying have a 401k, own a piece of land, American dream. It's not that way anymore.
What dream? Look around.
Nightmare.
The dream is dead.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, you
There's
really
no
killed
such thing as an American dream anymore.
I don't even know what that is anymore. And like at first I was just like, oh, it's, owning a home and owning this and owning that. And now it's like, it's just surviving at this fucking point. Honestly, it's just, that's the American dream. It's just surviving and having a job you actually love.
Harder to breathe.
But it's actually, it's a job that you love, and it's not even a job anymore. At this point, it's like something that you actually care to do. And what I think you brought today was very, like, it's not definitely nothing I expected, because normally everyone's like, buy this,
It's the
buy
complete
that.
opposite of what you're
It was literally
saying.
the complete opposite. And I don't think you understand how much you helped a lot of people and inquiring minds, because I know that there's so many people out there just like myself and
But let me speak on behalf of people that have never. I am a true millennial. Like graduated 2010. Like can't get any more millennial. I'm right smack in the middle.
Like biscuit.
Yeah. Take him to the Matthews Bridge.
Literally. She's got those slap-on wristlets still probably.
I love those.
Go ahead.
No, but my whole thing is like my friends that settle down and like have families and stuff, they all got houses, but it's like the rest of us, like you can't do it as a single person. It's physically impossible. I also went back to school, so I have like a crap ton of loans for my nursing degree, but I mean, worth every penny, and I'll pay it off eventually. But it's just like we're so strapped with all of these things already, like over $100,000 in debt from school. Like that's crazy.
And it's normalized.
Yes.
Student loans are one of the most nefarious programs that the country offers, because the interest is yearly.
Absurd.
It gets higher. It's not a fixed rate. So people can take out a $100,000 loan. And then I've seen this where it's like 10 years later and they're like, how is the balance still $100,000?
Yeah.
We paid maybe $60,000 so far, and yet you're telling me I still owe the exact bill.
Yeah.
It's wild.
Yeah.
And these programs that they'll offer students all the time, like I hear this a lot from people that are renting. Like,
I did it semester to semester because I'm like, I'm not playing around with that.
they'll say, hey, they were able to push my loan back during whatever time, or they let me pause or forbearance on the loan, whatever.
That's me right now till May.
And so what they do is with that program is then they're going to tack on more interest.
Yep,
And
I
it's
saw it already.
It seems like... So it seems like relief, and you're like, wow, thank God. Then
Jack of all trades.
Well, regardless, they're not making me pay it. So how realistically, how is one person paying over $130,000? And that's not possible.
Yeah, it is actually.
It's not.
It's the American dream.
I'm fighting. I am out here fighting.
You're fighting for your
Oh
life.
my
I mean,
God.
as is most Americans who want to like better their lives.
That went to school to help people.
Yeah, that's the worst part.
sick.
Yeah.
To heal the sick.
Yeah.
$130,000. All right, cool. Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Our nurses are our heroes.
And on that note, we're going to take a quick break.
Love it.
No te muevas ni del tingo al tango, que ahora es que falta mambo. Aquí, en Latino Mix.
Welcome back to the Code Check Chicks. I'm Dominique.
And I'm Anna.
And we are here with our friend Chris
Rebetti.
Well,
Hello.
Sorry, I'm not allowed to give him a nickname now, his first name.
Simple enough.
So we're here with Chris Rebetti, and we were just talking all things that really should make millennials feel a little bit better.
Yeah.
I mean, I, as a true smack in the middle millennial, definitely feel better after hearing that, because you have these unrealistic expectations slammed on you from the time that you're able to walk. Like,
right.
You get a house, you get married, you have the kids, you get the picket fence, blah, blah, blah. And then you get to an age and you're like, okay, well, don't have the house, don't have the husband, don't have the kids, still can't afford a house.
Yeah,
So
and the golden retriever is like $5,000. You can't even have the dog.
What?
out of control. You can't even have the freaking dog.
Yeah.
It is pathetic. American dream dissolved.
Yeah. Well, not really, because Chris just like reinstated a new American dream for us.
But I mean the one that we thought of.
Yeah.
But this is dead.
I think this is the new, more
Realistic.
improved and realistic. Like, I rent, and I'm going to be honest with you, I have my own parking space, washer, dryer. I have my own entrance. I do whatever I want whenever I want, and my landlord is on top of it. So, like, if I don't have to worry about it, it's like you're paying for someone else to worry about it, and it's almost kind of like a fair trade, if you ask me, at the end of the day, especially because now it's saying $115,000 to be comfortable in Long Island, New York. Like, this is disgusting. Like, that's just insane. So, like, that's just comfortability. So I'm like, I don't make nearly as much, and but I'm renting and I'm happy, and I'm doing something I love. And I think that's where that comes from too. It's like, you like to be able to move around and you like to do things. So I think that's where that also comes from you too, which is a lot of us millennials too. We like to do newer things, and we like to try new things. Like, you up and quit your job and you said, I'm going to do this full time. Like, you don't know. I don't think you understand. Like, you are going to be giving someone, like, you know what? This was my sign to do it, because I feel like I needed to do it. So,
well, good. I mean, and like, to what you're saying, I think people feel guilty if they rent something because it's, their parents don't. And why do you do that?
Mm-hmm. You're throwing your money away.
Exactly. And now I think we could all feel better about that based on the numbers we went on. It's like math now. Okay. The math makes sense.
The math is mathin', baby.
Yeah. And you can get up and leave tomorrow with no questions asked.
Isn't that great?
Right?
I love that.
Freedom is what we like.
Yes. That's what it is.
Where I feel like the old American dream is being strapped down.
Yeah, you have to be
real hard and tight.
Straps.
But that's what it was like back in the day too, right? Like, when, the women wanted to be wanted by the men. So once they were, then they were like, okay, I cater and do this, that, and the third. Whereas now women are like, they're also working women with their men.
Yes.
So I think that...
Well, we don't have much of a choice, do we?
No.
It's tough out there on one salary. Shit.
So for you,
even if I wanted to strap myself down, there ain't no way. We can't live. We can't afford it.
So when it comes to like property, because I know that you were talking about how you have like two different places, and you kind of utilize that, and in terms of how it fits into your life. Where is your favorite place to be in terms of like, or do you have an in-between location that you like to go and visit, like in Long Island, or what do you do?
I really like Long Island City. That's why I went there.
Oh, interesting.
And when I took like the, I guess, kind of change of my life, like I was in a big relationship, that ended, and I started real estate full-time on my birthday. 2 weeks after that, it was like crazy, but it was in that turbulent time that I would find myself escaping to the pier in Long Island City, looking out across. You could see Chelsea, you could see the skyline, and I found a lot of like belief in that. And so that was kind of where, like, ground zero, where it all started for me. So I had to put myself in the building that I put on my vision board that very day I started. And that, for me, it just means more than the location if it's more convenient to get to someplace. But it still is very convenient, because I just cross the bridge, I'm in the city. I can just cross the other side, I'm in Long Island. So it's like a good crashing point between a lot of locations. So, and it's beautiful, so I love it there.
And they did a real good job. Did you see? I mean, I know you
Long
probably
Island
go
City
there.
has been built up over the past 10 years so beautifully.
I went there, when was it, last August? And they really hooked it up over there. Do you typically go out to dinner or lunch over there?
Well, that's the thing, is you can't really do anything there yet. I mean, I'm going to put this
They
place
don't have
back on the
rooftops
map.
yet?
They have stuff.
Yeah.
But it's not like it's going to be in the city. It's a very quiet area.
Yes.
You go there just kind of for the scenic, for the views,
relaxing.
for the peace.
Yeah, I agree.
There's like maybe 3
Because
places.
it's right on
I
the
go to.
water.
Yeah. If you want action, 5-minute drive across the bridge.
Right. Go to
You're
Manhattan,
there.
maybe.
You're in Manhattan. You're in Midtown right there. Or you head back
Or go to
Long Island.
Astoria.
Astoria is right up there as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's so many places you can go, but that's like where you're going to come, chill out, and find like your peace, your sanctuary.
Cool.
They have blended on the water there, but it's like
Blend.
right? Okay.
Blender.
Well, I thought it was
Blend
a little funny.
me on the water.
There's no outside seating.
Oh.
So yes, the building is on the water, but there's no outside seating.
Well, because they make their lives a lot easier that way. Outside seating's a pain in the ass.
Fuck that. You're gonna tell me it's blend on the water. I want to see the water.
Well, you are.
Also
They have
too-
big windows, don't they?
No, they don't. It's right. It's not as big as you think
the
it
block.
is.
People go up the block to American Brass, which has outdoor seating.
Oh, okay.
It's just not up high like Blend. Like if you go
Okay.
to the other floors up above, you can enjoy like up top.
Yeah.
Yeah.
American Brass is kind of like you're on the first floor,
Yeah.
but you are in the open. So
Gotcha.
You can see the water. You're on Center Boulevard. It's nice.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Well,
I
I
like
like
that.
I think it's Skinny Cantina. That's what it's called.
There's one over there. I honestly don't visit a lot of them. I pass by.
You
a
need to
lot.
go to that.
Skinny
I
Cantina?
promise you will. If you like margaritas like I do, you will not be disappointed. The tacos are delicious. The service is great. I love it. So anytime I go there, I always enjoy myself. And then I take a walk across the street, and I go on the.
I don't want to be
pier.
dragged for this, but I'm not normally a margarita girl. So
I know
when
you're
you
not.
tell
You're a
me
vodka
these
girl.
places, I'm like, cool, tacos.
Well, they have vodka drinks too, but
No,
like I'm
of course,
saying,
of course. But you're going really
Tacos.
but you're going for tacos and margaritas.
You know what? There's 99,000 other
Yes.
people that probably love it, and maybe he would too. So, what about you? So, what kind of food do you typically indulge in when you do go out into the city?
I really like steak, which is you're everywhere you go out there, you're going to be paying a lot of money for the steak. But I'll tell you the best steak I've ever had, like eyes closed while eating it, Capitol Grill.
Oh my gosh,
Whichever one you
Capitol
go-
Grill is delicious. Which
the
one? The
one
one
in
in
New
Roosevelt
York?
Field, right?
You could go to that one, you
I've
go to
been
the one in
there.
New York, go to the one
Yeah.
in Florida. They are on top of their game.
They're
with
very
the
good.
quality, and the cooks, they're all like whatever certification.
I would go as far as to say better than the two major steakhouses on Long Island that I'm thinking of in my head that are in this county.
Blackstone and
And Prime.
And yeah. Actually, yeah.
Prime is mediocre at best.
Yeah?
Beautiful views.
Yeah, it does.
Like awesome.
Mediocre.
I know she
What?
crushed that right now. She dragged
Yeah.
them.
Like
Their food's not that good.
I love it. Their mac and
It's
cheese
really
delicious. I like their side dishes more. Than anything.
Listen,
you don't
I'm
get
more.
macaroni and cheese there.
But
their macaroni and cheese is delicious. Don't.
But I will go like that's. To me, it's not worth the like. It should be mind-blowingly good for that money, and it's not to me.
Oh,
That's what I'm
okay.
saying. That's
Okay.
really more what it comes down to. Not that I'm saying it's shitty. It's like quality food, but I'm just saying like for what they pay, like for what you pay for your dishes, I don't think it's worth the hype.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
I mean,
but I like Insignia.
Yeah.
you know what's funny? I don't like Insignia, but I love Prime.
Oh no, I like Insignia.
Same owner.
Yeah, I don't know what it is, but like it's just not the same.
Are you sure?
Yeah. They have Blackstone, Prime, and Insignia. And they
Okay.
have another one as well.
Rare 650
Could be. I'm not sure.
or
Oh,
Tellers. Yeah.
Tellers. It's Tellers.
Never been there. I always
I've
wanted to
been
go there.
It's good.
It's okay.
I like it.
Okay.
It's the ambience is great. It is in, I believe,
Bayshore.
So it's a nice area. Which
Yeah.
Is
Is it on the
nice.
water?
No.
Oh, okay.
I mean,
Just
it's
like
by
in
the
the town.
water.
Yeah.
But it's not on the water.
Gotcha.
I don't know if that helps.
Yeah, I just feel like people pay an astronomical amount because it's Prime, because
Yeah.
it's Blackstone.
Well, because of the outside
name.
views, and then on Sundays
Blackstone,
they
but-
have like jazz on like brunch and stuff like that. And
yes, Prime, yes, but Blackstone, they can't say about the views
I've been to Blackstone
or
to use the
Insignia.
bathroom. I've never eaten there, but I had to stop. And so I was on my way home, and so I was like, you know what? Let me just check it out.
It's
And I
pretty
did.
good.
Yeah.
It's all right. I'm just saying these places are very expensive for what they're
Yeah.
offering you.
And I feel like because
You know what I mean?
we have to.
Yeah.
You're paying for a name.
It's the highest that you'll find, like really in
Yes.
those three places we talked about.
Yep.
But to go in and use the bathroom, that's like,
You know
That's
what?
a mortal sin.
I'd be sitting at my table looking up like scolding.
Well, I I was gonna get a drink. Okay, fine. I'll tell the whole story. I was gonna get a drink. That what happened is that they were so busy in there. I was like, you know what?
I don't blame you. I would have did the same thing.
Honestly, if I was gonna go there for my first time, I wanted like the
whole thing.
Yeah, I got you. Want them like kind of just
experience. Yeah.
Yeah, I want to actually experience it. So I was like, I don't want to just come here for a drink. I want to come here and enjoy a drink and maybe order something or whatever.
Yeah, no, I like that.
Makes sense.
So, okay. I mean, listen, I was telling him I wanted to ask him, a little bit of personal questions.
It's so funny that you just said that because I was just going to make the bridge over because I was like, okay.
You know what? Fine. If we're speaking about food, Chris, where would you take your ideal date?
On a date?
Yeah.
For like dinner?
For dinner.
A first date.
A first date.
I mean, you can't go. See, now it's like a whole.
Mm-hmm. He's right. I knew he was going to say this.
It's a whole thing. So, I mean, you have to, in today's day and age, if you want to take them someplace like that I like going to, that's what I want to do. I try to enjoy myself, put myself in an environment that I'll be good in. And so if the place is too nice, then you tried too hard.
Yes. If it's
kills your value. It goes
if you're
down.
at Chili's, you didn't try hard enough.
That 2 for hits, man. It's 2
Not
for
for nothing.
hits.
I would be mad if you took me to Chili's.
Cheesecake Factory, I heard, is like taking off right now.
Oh,
Yeah.
no. Don't take me there.
I wouldn't
Don't
mind
take
it.
me there.
What?
The pumpernickel bread? Are you kidding? That alone makes me come and want it.
Way too poppin'. It's always been. You can't.
that's
On a
true.
first date. That's not a good place to go.
Okay. I see what you're saying. Because
It's too
not like,
awkward. You're waiting a while for your food.
and
You
it's
might wait a while
loud.
for your drinks. It's very loud. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So you
Yeah.
have to go to somewhere quaint.
Yeah.
Where would you take them? Like somewhere quaint, like some. You know why I ask him this? Because I see his stories sometimes, and sometimes he goes out, and I'm like, "Where the hell are you now? Like, are you joking?" And I'm like, "Who are you with?" I wouldn't ask him, but I'm like, "Who's that?"
May never know.
The world may never know.
I really like Ohika Castle. Gary's a good friend of mine at this point, and when I go there,
Their food in the restaurant is chef's kiss.
is very good. The ambiance is fine. Service is great. The experience is what you pay for. So it's kind of like a good blend there. I love it. But let me tell you, if you bring someone on a date there, they're like, what is he up to that he has to try this hard? So and also, I don't want to introduce you to like family when we're not there yet.
Yes.
So that comes later. But yeah.
Yeah.
Well, then that can't be your ideal date if that's like what that is. Like, I think
Blackstone is good.
Okay. No, that's fine.
Just to run in and use the bathroom, and then we'll go to Chili's.
Oh my God. Okay. You know what? I'll tell you what. I'm gonna try it.
If somebody
and then
took
I'll
me
tell
for
you
a
about
first date, I would be impressed if somebody took me on a first date to
Yeah?
Prime or Blackstone. Yes, of course I would.
I mean, okay, yeah, sure.
yeah, I would be impressed, but I'm saying I'm not going there on a normal, like that's a special occasion thing for me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm not totally shitting
sometimes
on
you could
it.
just
I
go
feel like
there for,
that's how
a
I
nice
came
drink,
across. I'm
Nothing
not
crazy. You don't necessarily have to have like a dinner there. I think the ambience and what I liked about it is when I did come, like I was walking in, I saw like the little chairs outside. Like people were just really relaxing. Like it was like a house in like the country or something.
Yeah.
It looks very nice.
Great
So
job
I was
with
like,
the vibe there.
Right, exactly. So I think that in that, I will say when it comes to Melville and Huntington, they do have top spots for food, especially like with Realty, because I travel down Swamp Road.
Yeah.
It's like it's soul crushing.
Yeah.
Honestly, I don't know. First of all, as a realtor, how do you look at these houses sometimes and not say to yourself, "I could totally see myself buying this at some point"? Do you ever think that?
Yeah, certain houses. I'm like, I remember I had to show one of my dream houses with a condo, and I was showing it to the buyer, and I'm like, "Do you like it? So, do you want to buy it?" Yeah.
You should.
Right.
I definitely
You
friggin'
sure?
do.
You really like
Do
it?
you really want?
And they're like, "Yeah, we like it." I'm like, "Good." Really good.
But at least you get to see someone's happiness come into there. I mean, he's like, "Yeah, sure, whatever, bitch."
Yeah, sure. They get what I wanted. That's great. Everybody wins.
Yeah, no, so that will happen. It's funny. It's like that is true. That does happen.
Yeah.
So,
Have you ever sold to like a famous person?
There's been people that I've worked with that were looking in certain areas. Certain people, yes, we work with some of the Rangers, some of the Islanders.
Oh, wow. Fun.
Coaches. I did meet an ex-Playboy model that wanted to.
Love that for
she was
her.
selling.
I love that for you, Chris.
There was no, but she was like 80 something years
I'm
old.
screaming.
One of the original Playboy bunnies.
She's like, has gray hair with pigtails on the cover of Playboy now, you know.
But they know how to live. Let me tell you, she moved the end. It was like there's a center table in the living room. There was a carpet that came up and trap door, hot tub in the middle of the living room. The doors open up. We're right on the water in Bayville. It looked directly out.
I love that.
Like, they know how to live.
Yeah, they did in the 70s, didn't they? Come on, that was from the 70s, wasn't it?
Yeah. So I was like, that's a cool client. It's an interesting person. So I love that stuff.
Yeah, that's cool.
That's really
I like
cool.
that.
I love that. So we're gonna start, ending the show, and as Code Check Chicks, we are really into like the customer service area, and we know that as realtors, you guys have to keep that. Like we were saying, we're like, our customers leave and that's it. We don't have to deal with it, but you have to deal with it with over a significant amount of time. So we're gonna let you end this with a nice advice that you would give to pretty much anybody who is maybe dealing with maybe selling a home and maybe having a little tough time, and what's a good piece of advice you can give them?
The agent or the person?
The agent. And then I want you to talk about how maybe people who are buying, how they should maybe approach it. Because I think of all people, both sides.
Yeah. So first, it's people that are selling their house that is having trouble letting go of it or having trouble getting it sold.
Do the selling and then the sold.
Okay, so people that are trying to get rid of a house, end the chapter, enter another chapter.
Yes.
Yeah, sometimes there's emotional ties there.
Leave the chat, enter the chat.
Exactly. I mean, it's like when you want to move on, get bigger, better things. You had no problem leaving your ex.
Yes.
Leave the house.
Leave the house, homie.
Clean it out. You
Leave
can
the
still
ex.
take your dog with you. You're going to the next place that you want to go. It's going to be better than where you're at, and you're going to make money probably. You'll have good appreciation. You're taking out the money that you've made over the years. So it's really rewarding, more so than people think. It's so scary. They're usually relieved once they finally end at the table. Yeah. The buy side?
Yeah.
People scared of buying?
Yes, people scared of buying.
You should
I'm
be
scared of buying. I said this before.
No,
He literally said it.
No, I know, but what
Yeah.
I'm saying in terms of like when they're buying maybe more assets of what they currently have. So like say for instance they already have a home and like in this
so they want to add to their assets,
they
basically.
want to add to their assets. And I know that you were stating how before that you're like, oh well, people like the rich don't really own, they really just kind of are tied to these things in certain aspects. I know that some people are like, well, I still want to buy. What could you say to them for that?
Then totally buy. Make sure you live within your means.
Mm-hmm.
So
Smart.
people that get into trouble, they do it too much for the lifestyle or the look of it, and they end up becoming what we call house poor, where a lot of your bills
Yep,
are
heard of that
you're
before.
You're working to support the house and not really enjoy your life at all. So you want to avoid that situation at all costs. So have room for even if things go wrong.
Yeah.
Not trying to do too much with it. But yeah, you should definitely have your concerns going in, do all of the numbers, make sure it's crunched, get advised by good people, and don't worry too much because you only live one time, and make sure you do the things.
Thank God, huh?
Yeah.
I don't know if I could do this all over again. I'm exhausted.
Like I need a break for the next 100 years.
Yeah.
On that note, thank you so much for coming. Thank you, Chris Rebetti, for coming on
Absolutely.
our
Thanks for
show
having me.
today.
Well, actually, let him say his Instagram handle
Oh,
where they
yeah,
can
go
find
ahead.
him and get even more advice in terms of, buying and selling and what, advice, what to do.
Sure. Well, you can definitely find me at Chris Rebetti. It's at Chris Rebetti on Instagram. Be sure to follow me. If you are looking for real estate advice, you have to reach out to me as my customers to get great service. And I'm happy to meet you, discuss what your needs are, and anyone of your family or friends as well. They get it just like you would, VIP service.
Oh, I love that. It's
Love
like you
it.
do this every day.
Yeah, you're amazing. Our show is going to be airing, like always, Monday at 7 p.m. So please tune in and watch on Latino Mixx YouTube.
And make sure you follow us on TikTok and Instagram, coat.check.chicks.